Call the regularly scheduled meeting of the Brockton City Council to order. If you please rise and join me in saluting the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. President. Thank you. I would just like to bring to everybody's attention, last week we lost a great champion in the city of Brockton. Joan Holland Madden, passed away last week on Tuesday. Joan was an amazing woman, community leader, and she absolutely loved her city of Brockton. So I would like to send her family and friends our condolences, especially her son Brian, who is a Brockton Public School employee. So I would just like to say, may she rest in peace. She will always rest in our hearts as well as a true leader in the city of Brockton. Her services are going to be this Friday, April 29th, at Russell and Pica Funeral Home in Brockton from 4 to 7 p.m. Thank you. May she rest in peace.
Thank you, Councilor. She'll be missed. Mr. Clerk, item number 1.
Item number 1, acceptance of the minutes of the April 11th, 2022 City Council meeting.
Accepted and filed.
Number 2, report of the Planning Board for its meeting of April 5th, 2022.
Accepted and filed.
Number 3, report of the Finance Committee for its meeting of April 19th, 2022.
Accepted and filed.
Hearing petition of Antero Rodriguez, MGR Black Ops Collision and Repair LLC of 4 Monroe Street, Taunton, Mass. for a motor vehicle repair mechanical license transfer located at 761 Warren Ave, Brockton, Mass. In City Clerk's Office, September 22, 2020. Hearing assigned for April 25th, 2022. Fire Department has no objections. All paperwork is on file.
Time having arrived, I declare this hearing open. Is there anyone here in favor? If so, please come up, give your name and address to the clerk. You in favor?
Mr. Rodriguez, step right to the podium.
Sorry, I'm a little off today. My name's Antero Rodriguez.
Your name? Sorry?
Antero Rodriguez.
Thank you. Do you have anything you'd like to say at this time?
I'll be honest, right now I'm at a loss for words. I had a loss in my family today. I'm just here to finally get this done and resolved so I'm not in trouble with the city no more.
Sorry to hear about it.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here in favor? If not, I declare that portion of the hearing closed. Is there anyone here in opposition? If so, please come up and give your name and address to the clerk. Yep.
Oh, he can.
My name's Deborah Nordine. And what else?
Name and address.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep, no
766 Warren Ave, Brockton.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, I'm here because I'm just a little bit concerned in terms of, we don't know what the operating hours would be of the shop. And there have been issues, it's in the rear of a gas station. And there have been issues, which I would say are licensing issues or violations, where the store is open way beyond what they're actually licensed to be open. So I am a little bit concerned in terms of what the operating hours would be, to the repair shop. And I know, and there is also the issue of the cars being parked on Myrtle Street, which is abundant to the shop, and it really closes down the whole roadway for the fire department and everybody else around there. But yeah, so that's a big issue for me, or not just me. I mean, I think I'm here, also to advocate for my, some of my neighbors that I know there are issues, just, with the building, not specifically, it's, I'm just saying, the hours and so on and so forth. It's a concern. I don't know.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you.
Is there anyone else here in opposition? If not, I declare that portion of the hearing is closed. Councilors, anyone before we call it? Councilor D'Agostino.
Thank you, Mr. President. So in a few things, One, Mr. Rodriguez, I'm sorry for your loss. I appreciate that you're still here with us and coming this evening. So the applicant has agreed to the stipulations that were distributed to all of the counselors. I'll address the main one that was raised, which was the hours of operation. He's agreed to an 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday, closed on Sundays and legal holidays. Correction, the stipulations that are coming around to you all. So he agreed to those hours. He agreed to outside storage of vehicles being limited to no more than 15, and that they have to be stored in the fenced-in lot in the back of the property. And where is it on here? You know, repair work has to be maintained and undertaken inside the building. And I'm sorry, and additionally, there is a stipulation, no vehicle associated with this business will be parked or stored anywhere on a public or private way. So hopefully that addresses the other concern that was raised. There is a full list of conditions that have been distributed. Obviously, as a lot of this stuff is built into the ordinances, but we wanted to get it onto the license as well. So I hope that addresses the concerns that were raised. And I want to thank you for being amenable to this. We had a great conversation. And I also had a conversation with Deputy Chief Williams, who spoke very well of this applicant. He had nothing but great things to say about him. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Nicastro.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Rodriguez, and I'm also sorry for your loss. This is an application for a mechanical license, right? Not a body license?
Yeah, that was supposed to be crossed out.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, so you're going to cross that out on your stipulation, and you're going to take out number 7, because that applies to a body license.
It's not on the license, though.
Oh, but on the stipulation.
Stipulation is there, but
Yeah,
it won't matter because it's not a license for that.
I just wanted it to be consistent.
No.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
That's that, Counselor?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm a little concerned that, first of all, can I ask the applicant a couple questions? What is that?
Leftovers in the hearing.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
This
sure.
is a public hearing, dude. I don't have to stand. Thank you. Can I ask him a couple questions, if I could?
Okay.
How are you, sir? Did you own this building all along? When did you start? When did you take ownership of this building?
Well, the whole license started getting transferred in 17 or 18, and then, I'll be honest, city kept on losing my application. And then finally, we did a transfer where I actually just had my lawyer do it. I was like, man, I'm tired. You go figure it out. I just paid him to figure it out. But I'll be honest, I've been trying to get this license for like 4 years now, if not more. They keep losing my paperwork. Not talking bad about the city hall, but it's like they kept losing my paperwork. I was like, dude. And last but not least, the fire chief came and said, pretty soon I'm gonna start fining you if you don't get the license. And that's when I met up with someone in City Hall, and I just dealt with just her, nobody else. But I never owned the property.
Are you seriously okay with all these stipulations?
I abide by them. I abide better than them right now. I don't park cars out in the streets. I keep less than 10 cars in the parking lot right now. My hours are up till 5, Saturdays till 12. You ain't gonna see me in the city on Sunday unless I came to visit my parents. I'm here right now at this time because of here and because I had a passing away this morning. But other than that, I should be near my family, but I just want to get this resolved so the city and I don't bump heads anymore.
Yeah, because I think, I don't know if you know this or not, but the house right next to the garage is actually where my in-laws live,
Which house? The one behind it? The
771.
one or to the left?
Yeah.
On Warren Ave?
Yeah.
Oh, we're great friends.
Yeah. So they've had some problems in that property in the past with whoever owned it before, leaving cars all over the place. They didn't make any sense.
I corrected all that.
But I haven't heard anything from them, at least in the last few years, in terms of complaining about this. But I want to make sure that we are clear in this body when applicants come to us, Mr. President. Because it seems that some applicants come before us, and I think we got to be consistent. Either we put restrictions on every single license that comes in, or we do no such thing with anyone. Because it doesn't look right in the city that every time an applicant comes before us, that might look a little different than some of us. It seems that there's always a list of restrictions upon restrictions on their license. Again, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about the R word, but I'm just saying that it does not look good for a body. Either we need to adopt a consistent version of things where every single license transfer that comes through the city, they get one of these, no matter who it is. It could be the President of the United States, or it could be the guy that's selling whatever down the street. But we got to be consistent, because it sends the wrong message to the community that every time somebody that comes in that looks a little different or sounds a little different, we are imposing restrictions on them. And we sat here 3 weeks ago, when another license came through, there was absolutely no restrictions. As a matter of fact, I think there was a standing ovation for the person, and I'm being sarcastic, but I just want to make sure that we as a body begin to treat every single citizen or business owner that comes through our doors the same way, because it gets to a point where some of us are going to start to having an issue the way we conduct ourselves. And it does not look good for this body that it happens only on certain occasions. So I'm going to say that, from now on, if any counselors are going to come back and present restrictions on any of the licenses, that it better be uniform across the board. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for your business.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Farwell, followed by Counselor D'Agostino.
Just in response to Councilor Rodriguez, I completely agree with him. I think we should be uniform and consistent. However, there may be a reason why one license would be treated differently if you're operating in a densely populated neighborhood as opposed to up on Oak Street, in the mall, or somewhere else. That throws an entirely different complexion on the operation of the business. You wouldn't necessarily be right next to a neighborhood like Ms. Nordine. So if we're going to do that, I still think we should recognize that there will be locations in the city where we may want to do things differently. Again, working with the applicant, as we did with this gentleman, let them be aware of what's going on and have them acquiesce to it, agree to it. Most of these here, other than the hours of operation, I think are all, and the posting of the hours of operation outside, I think all of them are already covered by ordinance. I think outside storage of auto parts is prohibited already by ordinance. I think repair work undertaken inside the building. So I think we are being consistent. We should always be better, but I don't want to lock us into a position where every single applicant can't be evaluated on the merits of the conditions or the neighborhood in which it's located. I think we would do ourselves and our residents a disservice. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor D'Agostino.
Thank you. First, this is the first motor vehicle repair license that has come up in Ward 3 since I became a counselor. So there's no track record of anything being any different with certain people or other people. This is the first one I've done. And these, and maybe what's being referenced is prior to my time, but I'm sure that's exactly right. But most of this is in the ordinance. It is adjacent to residential property. And so while I agree with both my colleagues, Councilor Farwell and Councilor Rodriguez in theory, I also agree that we still need to have some ability to put neighborhood appropriate stipulations, i.e. you're adjacent to a residential property. Similarly to what Councilor Farwell said, if this was over in the area around the mall where there's no residential, it's an industrial or commercial area, there's nothing residential near it, that would be a different conversation, I think. But given that we are abutting residential property, I think it's reasonable to have some restrictions on things like numbers of vehicles and hours, for sure. And, you know, again, when you've got residential neighbors around it, I think it does make sense. And so we need to have the flexibility to do that when it makes sense. So, yeah, I mean, you know, again, you're abutting a residential property. There's no reason not to have the ability to do that. And also, finally, I'll mention as well, as far as being reasonable about this, I pulled stipulations from other applicants just to kind of see what was out there. And I took a bit of a longer list and cut it back, which I thought I was being pretty reasonable in what I left on here. You know, we did speak before the meeting. I asked if he felt it was reasonable, you know, and we agreed that it was reasonable. You know, so again, I just want to make clear, though, this is the first time I've done this, so, you know, I'm sure maybe you're talking, it was referenced, maybe it meant the council overall, I don't know, but I just want to be very clear about that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Rodriguez.
No, Mr. President, what I referenced here had nothing to do with Ward 3. That was not the reference. This was in a general perception of this council that there's times when licenses come before us that some of us are doing cartwheels to make sure we approve the licenses, whereas there are other instances where other individuals show up here, we are enlisting them with the list of restrictions and conditions. What I'm saying is that we need to be uniform about this. There's nothing that prohibits us from handing, it doesn't matter if they're sitting in cloud, whatever, never mind the mall, but we can say, oh, your restriction is your operating hours are from within this time to that time. But we're not even doing that. We're basically, some businesses will come in, we don't say boo about anything. There's no hours of operation, there's no how many cars you leave outside, don't leave outside. We don't bring any of that up. What I'm saying, we gotta be uniform across the way. It doesn't matter if you're at the mall, there's still laws and regulations at the mall that we need to abide by. Sure. So it doesn't matter where you are in the city. If we're gonna insist on putting restrictions on some licenses, then we ought to do it across the board. Because if we don't, then there's that perception that we choose and pick who gets a license with whatever pushback, and some of us are not gonna stand for this in this council anymore. That's what I'm saying. We need to be uniform, and even if instead of being 10 items, it could be 3 items, but at least there will be a piece of paper that we are doing uniform across the board, so everybody knows that this council will impose restrictions on licenses, that it's not just on certain individuals or those that can understand the language a little bit better than others, that we're doing it across the board for everybody to follow. It doesn't matter where the business is, there's always restrictions that we can put down and some clarifications that can be put down for everybody to follow, so that it gives that perception that we don't sit and pick and choose which businesses we favor or don't favor. It's not for any words that I'm talking about. This is in general from this council. We did it a couple weeks ago where another business came here. There was no mention of anything. I'm just saying that we need to be uniform across the board. Otherwise, individuals like myself will bring it up and say foul, because we need to do that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Counselor. No other counselors. The question comes on granting the motor vehicle repair license transfer by a hand vote. All in favor? All opposed? The motion passes. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I have to vacate now because I'm going to get in trouble if I don't get some.
And again, I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you.
Yes, we're very sorry for your loss. Mr. Clerk?
Number 5, communications. Communication from the mayor informing the city council that Bonnie Sparks is stepping down from the Conservation Commission effective April 12th, 2022.
Accepted and filed.
Communication from the Director of Planning and Economic Development requesting acceptance of the grant award in the amount of $226,000 from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, a MassWorks grant to prepare design documents and drawings for the reconstruction of Franklin Street and the extension of Marvelous Marvin Hagler Way from Franklin Street to Court Street. This grant continues to work to improve circulation downtown and builds off previous efforts to improve Center Street, Petronelli Way, and other downtown streets. This $226,000 EPA grant will not require a local match.
Accepted and filed.
Communication from the mayor recommending the same.
Accepted and filed.
Communication from the CFO relative to the same.
Accepted and filed.
Communication from the Director of Planning and Economic Development requesting acceptance and expenditure of the grant award in the amount of $250,000 from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Housing Choice Initiative Program. This grant fund will fund important investiture improvements in the public realm associated with the redevelopment of the Sisters of Jesus Crucified, Our Lady of Sorrows Convent at 223 Thatcher Street. Working in conjunction with the Planning Office of Urban Affairs, the city will see the following: a new sidewalk on the west side of Thatcher Street, crosswalk connecting to Massasoit Community College, and improved pedestrian access along Thatcher Street. New bus stop will improve the connection to public transportation, and sewer improvements that will support the new 175 housing units. This grant does require a local match. The local match will be satisfied by in-kind design and engineering services funded by the Planning Office of Urban Affairs.
Accepted and filed.
Communication from the mayor recommending the same.
Accepted and filed.
Communication from the CFO relative to the same.
Accepted and filed.
Appointment of Kyra Rodriguez of 90 Country Club Lane, Brockton, Mass. to the Brockton Redevelopment Authority for a 5-year term ending March 2027. In City Council, April 11th, 2022. Read and referred to the Standing Committee on Finance. That report was favorable.
Councilor Rodriguez, Councilor Farwell.
That's quite all right, Councilor Nicastro.
Hey, wait a minute.
Mr. President, I would move that after reading, we take 12, 13, and 14 collectively and vote on them.
Second.
Motion's properly made and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? The motion passes.
Appointment of Dennis Ianieri of 137 Winifred Road, Brockton, Mass. to the Parking Authority for a 5-year term ending April 2027. Reappointment of Ernest Pettiford of 1161 Montello Street, Brockton to the Brockton Housing Authority Board for a 5-year term ending April 2027. Those were both in City Council, April 11th, 2022. Read and referred to the Standing Committee on Finance. That report was favorable.
All right, the question's on confirmation by a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Azak?
Yes.
D'Agostino?
Yes.
Farwell?
Yes.
Lally?
Yes.
Mendez?
Yes.
Minicello?
Yes.
Nicastro?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Tavares?
Yes.
Texera?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
11 in the affirmative.
The appointments are confirmed. Councilor D'Agostino.
Mr. President, I have a late file that I'd like to make a motion that we take it out of order so that the folks involved are able to leave a little earlier.
Okay.
I don't know if that's completely
second that.
irregular.
All right, motion's been properly made and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes.
To the members of the City Council, I hereby appoint Police Officer David R. Wallen Jr. of New Bedford, Mass. as a special police officer.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Good. Is there anything you'd like to say to the councilors?
I look forward to working in the city of Brockton, and I thank you for your guys' time.
Councilors, just for your information, Mr. Wallen is a fully sworn police officer in the city of New Bedford right now, and is moving up here, and the school department has asked us to move tonight because they are shorthanded on the school police.
Councilor D'Agostino.
It's all right, I'll make the motion that we take this under suspension of the rules and act on it tonight.
Second.
As the clerk stated, the school police department is often shorthanded, and so to have somebody that is already an officer, ready to go and able to start on day one is really valuable.
All right, motion's been properly made and seconded. All in favor to take this tonight? All opposed? Motion passes. Madam
Mr.
Clerk?
President, I move for reconsideration in hopes it does not prevail.
That would be just to take it tonight.
This
I'll
is
call the
just
roll.
taking,
Voted it yet.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the
I'll
roll?
second anyways, whatever the motion was.
Azak?
Then have a second.
Yes.
D'Agostino?
Yes.
Farwell?
Yes.
Lally?
Yes.
Mendez?
Yes.
Minicello?
Yes.
Nicastro?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Tavares?
Yes.
Texera?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
11 in the affirmative.
Go ahead.
The appointment is confirmed. Counselor Azak.
I move for reconsideration in hopes it does not prevail.
I second it.
Thank you, Counselor Farwell. All right, motion's been properly made and seconded to take this under reconsideration. Hope this does not prevail. All in favor of reconsideration? All opposed? Reconsideration fails. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, officer.
Good luck. Thank you.
Stay safe.
If you call the city clerk's office tomorrow, we'll set up getting you sworn in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilors, before we move on, I would ask that somebody move for reconsideration if they could on the three appointments. The parking authority has a shortage and they have a meeting Wednesday and will not have a quorum if we don't get former Councilor Ianieri sworn in. So
I move for reconsideration on items 12, 13, and 14 in hopes they do not prevail.
I second it.
Thank you, councilors. Motion's been properly made and seconded. All in favor of reconsideration? All opposed? Reconsideration fails.
Item number 15, ordinance. An ordinance amending Article 3, Division 2, Section 2-127, pay plan. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Brockton, Article 3, Section 2-127 is hereby amended as follows. Effective date of this ordinance amendment shall be July 1st, 2022. Enforcement of this ordinance shall be subject to a supplemental appropriation by the mayor. The flat rate salaries to be paid to poll workers shall be amended by striking the language $28 per hour and inserting in its place $250 per day. And the following language under miscellaneous for poll workers shall be stricken. Partial hours payable in quarter-hour increments. The flat rate salaries to be paid to election wardens shall be amended by striking the language $35 per hour and inserting in its place $300 per day. And the following language under miscellaneous for election wardens shall be stricken. Partial hours payable in quarter-hour increments. Further, the election warden's position shall be amended to include clerks. Adoption of the above changes shall result in the following. Category ELW, election wardens clerks, flat rate $300 per day. Partial hours payable at direction of Executive Director of Election Commission. EL2, poll workers, $250 per day. Partial hours payable at the direction of Executive Director of Elections Commission. In City Council, February 14th, 2022. Read and referred to the Standing Committee on Ordinance. That report was favorable as amended. In City Council, April 11th, 2022. Passed to a third reading by a hand vote as amended.
The question is on ordination as amended by a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Azak?
Yes.
D'Agostino?
Yes.
Farwell?
Yes.
Lally?
Yes.
Mendez?
Yes.
Minicello?
Yes.
Nicastro?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Tavares?
Yes.
Texera?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
11 in the affirmative.
The ordinance is ordained as amended.
Mr. President,
Councilor Nicastro.
make a motion for reconsideration in hopes that it fails.
Second.
Motion for
do every
reconsideration
single
is
one of them.
properly made and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? Reconsideration fails.
Thank you.
Ordinance, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Brockton as follows, that the City Council adopt the following amendment to Chapter 2, Article 1, Section 2-4.1. All meetings of the Zoning Board of Appeals as follows, to strike the language 7 p.m. and insert in its place 6 p.m., so that the ordinance shall read as follows. No meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals shall be convened prior to 6 p.m. In City Council, March 14th, 2022, read and referred to the Standing Committee on Ordinance. That report was favorable. In City Council, April 11th, 2022, passed to a third reading by a hand vote.
The question is on ordination by a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Azak?
Yes.
D'Agostino?
Yes.
Farwell?
Yes.
Lally?
Yes.
Mendez?
Yes.
Minicello?
Yes.
Nicastro?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Tavares?
Yes.
Texera?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
11 in the affirmative.
The ordinance is ordained.
17, ordinance, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Brockton as follows, that the City Council adopt the following amendments to the Section 27-24.3, humanitarian medical use of marijuana, relative to regulation and zoning of marijuana for medical use, to strike the language 8:30 a.m. and insert in its place 8 a.m., and strike the language 7 p.m. and insert in its place 10 p.m. in Section 27-24.3-C-21. In City Council, February 28th, 2022, read and referred to the Standing Committee on Ordinance. That report was favorable. In City Council, April 11th, 2022, passed to a third reading by a hand vote.
The question is on ordination by a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Azak.
Yes.
D'Agostino.
Yes.
Farwell.
Yes.
Lally.
Yes.
Mendez.
Yes.
Minicello.
Yes.
Nicastro.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Tavares.
Yes.
Texera.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
11 in the affirmative.
The ordinance is ordained.
Number 18, ordinance, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Brockton, Article 2, Section 14-49, panhandling is hereby repealed in its entirety, and the sections shall be stricken in their entirety. In City Council, February 14th, 2022, read and referred to the Standing Committee on Ordinance. That report was favorable. In City Council, April 11th, 2022, passed to a third reading by a hand vote.
The question is on ordination by a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Azak.
Yes.
D'Agostino.
Yes.
Farwell.
Yes.
Lally.
Yes.
Mendez.
Yes.
Minicello.
Yes.
Nicastro.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Tavares.
Yes.
Texera.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
11 in the affirmative.
The ordinance is ordained.
Number 19, ordered that the following named sum be and the same is hereby transferred, as the same was submitted by the mayor as follows. Transfer of $50,000 from the Department of Public Works Sewer Personal Services other than overtime to Department of Public Works Sewer Personal Services overtime. This transfer is necessary in order to cover projected overtime expenses and emergencies for the remainder of the fiscal year. In City Council, April 11th, 2022, read and referred to the Standing Committee on Finance. That report was favorable.
Question is on adoption by a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Azak.
Yes.
D'Agostino.
Yes.
Farwell.
Yes.
Lally.
Yes.
Mendez.
Yes.
Minicello.
Yes.
Nicastro.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Tavares.
Yes.
Texera.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
11 in the affirmative.
The order is adopted.
Item number 20, ordered that the following named sum be and the same is hereby transferred, as the same was submitted by the mayor as follows. Transfer of $100,000 from the Department of Public Works Water Personal Services other than overtime to Department of Public Works Water Personal Services overtime. This transfer is necessary in order to cover projected overtime expenses and emergencies for the remainder of the fiscal year. In City Council, April 11th, 2022, read and referred to the Standing Committee on Finance. That report was favorable.
The question is on adoption by a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Azak.
Yes.
D'Agostino.
Yes.
Farwell.
Yes.
Lally.
Yes.
Mendez.
Yes.
Minicello.
Yes.
Nicastro.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Tavares.
Yes.
Texera.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
11 in the affirmative.
The order is adopted.
Item number 21, ordered that the City Council authorizes the previously appropriated funds of the American Rescue Plan Act that exceed the $750,000 threshold for the following projects. City Hall exterior upgrades, City Hall HVAC, War Memorial HVAC, Senior Center expansion, emergency operations, Liberty Tree and Abolitionist Park, Sycamore Grove, nonprofit fund distribution, DW Field Clubhouse, Cosgrove Pool, Buckley Playground, Hancock Playground, Plymouth Street Playground, Holster Playground, Bent Playground, Hillstrom Farm Park, Parmenter Playground, Tukas Playground, and the Otis Street Park, consistent with the spreadsheet attached. In City Council, April 11th, 2022, read and referred to the Standing Committee on Finance. That report was favorable.
The question is on adoption by a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Azak.
Yes.
D'Agostino.
Yes.
Farwell.
Yes.
Lally.
Yes.
Mendez.
Yes.
Minicello.
Yes.
Nicastro.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Tavares.
Yes.
Texera.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
11 in the affirmative.
The order is adopted.
Item number 22, resolve. Be it resolved that Mayor Robert Sullivan and the Chief Financial Officer Troy Clarkson be invited to come before the Finance Committee to provide an update regarding ARPA funding, spending, and infrastructure planning. In City Council, April 11th, 2022, read and referred to the Standing Committee on Finance. That report was favorable.
Question is on adoption by hand vote. All those in favor? All opposed? The motion passes.
Item number 23, resolve, whereas prostate cancer occurs in approximately 250,000 new cases every year, whereas, according to the American Cancer Society, approximately 1 in 41 men will die from the effects of prostate cancer, whereas prostate cancer disproportionately affects African-American men, whereas African-American men are more than twice as likely to die from prostate cancer than others. Be it resolved to have Stephen Bernard of the Brockton area branch of the NAACP appear before a committee of this council to educate the public, to make a presentation on the efforts of the organization to spread awareness of the efforts to educate the public on the need for early diagnosis and treatment options via the Prostate Cancer Awareness Campaign. In City Council, April 11th, 2022, read and referred to the Standing Committee on Finance. That report was favorable.
Questions on adoption by hand vote? All in favor? All opposed? The order is adopted.
Item number 24, resolve, whereas home fires claim approximately 7 lives every day in this country, whereas working smoke detectors can cut the risk of death by over 50%, be it resolved to have a representative of the Brockton Area Red Cross appear before a committee of this council to highlight their efforts in the Sound the Alarm campaign to install 50,000 free smoke alarms and share safety information in at-risk communities across the country. In City Council, April 11th, 2022, read and referred to the Standing Committee on Finance. That report was favorable.
Questions on adoption by hand vote? All in favor? All opposed? The order is adopted.
Ordinance, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Brockton as follows, that the City Council adopt the following amendment to the Article 4, Section 27-29, relative to the C2 zone as follows. Section 27-29 shall be amended to insert as subsection S as a principal, excuse me, permitted use, eating and drinking establishments, including seasonal outdoor seating without drive-through service.
Referred to the Ordinance Committee and the Planning Board.
Number 26, ordered that the City Council authorizes the acceptance and expenditure of the total grant funds in the amount of $226,000 from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Office of Housing and Economic Development, MassWorks Grant, to the Department of Planning and Economic Development, MassWorks Grant Fund. These grant funds will be used to improve circulation in downtown Brockton.
Referred to the Finance Committee.
Item 27, ordered that the City Council authorizes the acceptance and expenditure of the total grant funds in the amount of $250,000 from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Housing and Community Development to the Department of Planning and Economic Development Fiscal Year 22 Mass Housing Choice Grant Fund. These grant funds will be used for infrastructure and roadway improvements on Thatcher Street.
Referred to the Finance Committee. Councilors, are there any moments of council's recognition or any late
I have
files?
late files in my hands.
Late files, okay. Councilor Farwell.
President, I have one late file. I'll move to admit them all if people want to vote on it collectively.
Second.
All right, motion has been properly made and seconded to accept all late files. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Mr. Clerk.
Makes it easier.
Absolutely. Item number 1, appointment to the members of the City Council. I hereby appoint City of Brockton retired police officer Andrew Cesarini of West Street in Brockton, Mass. as a special police officer.
Accepted and filed.
Refer to Finance.
Oh, referred to Finance. Sorry, I thought that was the communication.
It is, but in this case, we need it to go to. Resolved, whereas a downtown urban renewal plan was adopted by the City Council in 2016, and whereas the plan included specific initiatives to be undertaken and a projected budget required for the success of the plan, and whereas there are amendments to the plan and those changes are now part of the goals and objectives for redevelopment in the center of the city, and whereas it is important to have periodic reviews of the progress, planning, and implementation of the urban renewal plan. Now, therefore, be it resolved to have the Executive Director of the Brockton Redevelopment Authority and the Chair of the Redevelopment Authority Board appear before a committee of the Brockton City Council to discuss progress on the original urban renewal plan and the modifications adopted as part of the continuing city initiatives.
Referred to the Finance Committee.
Ordinance, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Brockton as follows, that the City Council adopt the following ordinance relative to outdoor dining in the City of Brockton. Licensing, A, all establishments operating outdoor dining in the City of Brockton must obtain licensure and approval from the License Commission. Each license shall be for a period of 1 year. The License Commission, B, the License Commission shall provide a process for application and renewal for an outdooring dining license. The License Commission shall set a fee for the application, license fee, and the license fee renewal. C, each establishment shall be required to submit a site plan to the License Commission, excuse me, depicting the scope and location of the outdoor dining area and related facilities showing all barriers, seats, tables, trash receptacles, signs, and other facilities. The plan shall label the number of seats. D, each license shall designate the number of allowed outdoor seats as determined by the License Commission. E, each license shall designate the hours of operation for outdoor dining as determined by the License Commission. F, each establishment which serves alcohol in its outdoor dining area shall include with their application a written statement describing how the sale and consumption of alcohol will be controlled in the outdoor dining area. G, the License Commission may establish conditions in the license for the safety and welfare of patrons using the outdoor dining facilities. Operations. A, normal vehicular traffic circulation cannot be impeded. Use of fire lanes is prohibited. Egress points and fire hydrants shall not be blocked. B, all outdoor dining area must comply with ADA requirements. C, restrooms must be provided in accordance with the Board of Health and Commonwealth of Massachusetts public health requirements. D, food preparation must occur inside the restaurant kitchen facility unless outdoor food preparation is specifically authorized by the Board of Health. E, the establishment must comply with the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission for extension of premises to patios and outdoor areas.
Referred to the Ordinance Committee.
We have one last ordinance. Ordinance, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Brockton as follows, that the City Council adopt the following amendment to Appendix C, zoning, to Article 4 as follows, to remove including seasonal outdoor seating from Section 27-28.1-0 C1 zones, to remove including seasonal outdoor seating from 27-29/3/G C1 zones, to remove I in its entirety.
Referred to the Ordinance Committee.
That's it.
Oh, we've got Councilor Farwell.
Just a quick moment of recognition. The councilors at large will hold their first meeting of the year this Wednesday, the 27th of April, from 6:30 to 8 at the East Middle School. We will have representatives from the police department there to talk about various public safety activities. We will have Mr. May there to talk about citywide zoning, and we've invited our colleague, Councilor Thompson, to come in and talk about zoning issues in Ward 5. So there are a number of things that are going on that evening. Hopefully people will space out their time and be able to attend all of them, but we will start at 6:30, early enough, I hope, to allow people to meet other obligations. So thank you again. It's Wednesday, 6:30.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other moments of personal privilege? Councilor Azak.
Thank you, Mr. President. Actually, a while back, I was bumped into Officer Rosie Vasquez Brown, and she mentioned that she is going to be having her, the annual, I think it's the police and the kids play off with basketball. But so that led us to, she is actually collecting sports, balls, footballs, basketballs, whatever anyone can donate to our youth in the city, and they can drop them off at the police station in the lobby area. So any sports balls that you'd like to donate, Officer Rosie Brown is collecting them for our youth. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Anybody else? Nothing left before us. I declare this meeting adjourned.
Hi. Starting April 7th on BCA, we got a new look. We have public, educational, government, and HD. Look for them all.